Now, you might be wondering to yourselves, self, what is enshittification? Let me tell you, basically, it is the slow degradation of various services and, uh, well, services, I think, covers it. Goods and services available to you through different capitalist storefronts. Basically, if you've been noticing that Amazon has been trying to sell you worse and worse quality stuff, if you've been noticing that Etsy, a place where like small time creators once thrived, has suddenly become like a haven for shippers, you're not alone. That's a real thing. It is happening. Your goods and services are indeed getting shittier. And it is largely a direct result of capitalism. Exactly, VCC TV. Because basically, what ends up happening is you have cheaper and cheaper goods being mass produced more and more, which allows them to become cheaper and, continues the cycle. So if someone's drop shipping, they're able to undercut like specialized businesses in a way that like, well, that $30 purchase is much more attractive than the $50 purchase. I want to innovate in drop shipping, okay? Like, I found this thread the other day, right? By Danielle Vermeer. Etsy isn't Etsying anymore because of the junkification effect. This is, by the way, not what it's called. Enshittification is an actual term, also known as platform decay. It happened to Amazon, Bandcamp, Facebook, Google Search, Quora, Reddit, Twitter. Have you noticed that your Google search results are bad? Have you noticed that it seems like only like paying customers seem to be getting to the top of Google search results? That's because, yep, you can pay to be on the top of Google search results. And it's also happening to Reddit because Reddit went, I believe Reddit is trying to sell, right? It went public and is trying to sell, or is trying to sell, and I don't know. Like, basically, they're trying to commodify these systems more and more. And it is another way to further wring profit out of each and every one of you. And gotta add Reddit or fact checker. Yeah, there's a reason why in order to get answers to your questions, you gotta like go to Reddit to find like specialists who know like why your drain is clogged. Every Twitter ad is either Ethereum or dropship bullshit. Yeah, exactly. Like what's ending up happening is that to make a quick buck, people are essentially buying cheap mass-produced stuff off of like Alibaba and then selling it as their own product, effectively becoming middlemen on a variety of websites in order to make a profit. And they're able to do that while undercutting, more specialized service providers who offer higher quality goods, but it's also at a higher quality price. And yeah, there's not really like a solution to this problem, right? But I think this thread by Danielle here is pretty interesting. Junkification is when platforms get flooded with low-quality, cheaply made products. The shift often occurs when under pressure to scale and be profitable. What's not being said right here, the shift often occurs when under pressure to scale and be profitable. The pressure to scale and be profitable comes from being a publicly traded business or being owned by someone who wants to make more and more money. It's a problem that you often see when it comes to companies that are being publicly traded that need to make forever profits, right? It's a way to make it certainly makes the service shittier, hence the enshittification, but it also makes them more money. And that's ultimately why it gets to be allowed. Could nonprofits be a solution in some form? Maybe. But I think there's a common misconception about nonprofits, which is that nonprofits really are not for profit. You know? Nonprofits are also subject to some of the same pressures to grow larger and larger and larger. It's why a lot of successful charity organizations continue pushing larger and larger and larger. Like, it's never quite enough. And at a certain point, for some of the largest nonprofits, well, you spin off and you become for profit, you know? So, like, this is where then Daniel, like, makes some pretty good observations. Etsy has gone from being handmade to manufactured. You can see this, by the way, pretty easily on Etsy. Products that would previously have been handmade, which is the entire point of Etsy, are now effectively turned into Redbubble knockoffs, where, like, it's just print on demand. They aren't actually hand making anything. They aren't, like, hand engraving. It's just being mass manufactured. Which allows them to sell at a cheaper price, but also cuts out small business people from being able to do their crafts for profit. It also basically makes it steadily less relevant to go to Etsy. Poshmark has gone from actual used secondhand clothing to drop shipping boutiques. You can see this on Poshmark, by the way, where, like, essentially you'll have these like page after page of these boutiques that are just selling the same, like, cheaply made lingerie that you can find on Alibaba, or they're selling the same shit that you can find on Amazon, which those Amazon stores also sell on Alibaba. Like, it's just making it more and more global and more well, it's trying to use the economy of scale to undercut any local business people whatsoever. And the last one, Amazon, from first-party sellers to third-party sellers. Essentially, again, the sellers on Amazon becoming middlemen, drop shippers to, like, sell you products that they got cheaper from elsewhere. Yes, in fact, making it shittier. Hence the enshittification. Let's see. Oh yeah, this video is really good. Here. This is from Tic Tac.
Talk about the junkification of Etsy and other marketplaces. Junkification is unfortunately very common on marketplaces. This article is from 2015 talking about Etsy, but it's happened to eBay, to Poshmark, to even Depop. One of the key drivers of junkification is policy changes that allow dropshippers or people essentially dropshipping mass-produced items. Those products are cheaper to produce and are mass-produced, so there's so many of them, that they begin to flood the platform and really degrade the quality and uniqueness of the experience. It's not just junk flooding these platforms. Earlier this year, Etsy got in hot water for allegedly selling counterfeits on the platform. If you want to learn more about junkification, I highly...
Yeah, because there's not really any way for them to police counterfeits once they open the door to dropshipping. Like, there's not a mechanism anymore. You've just allowed all of this shit to flood your website.
I highly recommend reading this article from New York Magazine, which talks about Amazon, but all of the findings are very applicable to Etsy and other platforms.
Yeah, like, why does it feel like the company is making itself worse? Because it is. By the way, this was always the intention behind Amazon. Amazon is one of those companies that hasn't turned a profit for a very long time. And I think it only recently began turning minuscule amounts of profit. But the entire reason behind that is because Amazon's business model relies on running all of its competition out of business, making itself the only place you can buy stuff online from, essentially. And like, sure, there's a lot of stuff that you can't find on Amazon or wouldn't buy on Amazon because you know a certain place you can go to, but like the entire goal is that it becomes the main place you go to buy stuff. I mean, how many of you this year bought most of your Christmas presents off of Amazon? Most people are buying through Amazon. You know, there's a reason why they expanded into groceries, why they're expanding into medicine, why they're expanding into everything, because they want to become the business that does everything for you and effectively create a monopoly. They run, I mean, hell, they run Twitch for sure. And like, Amazon rose after destroying antitrust laws. Exactly. Um, like it's I'm thinking of Wikipedia and NPR, which seem to not shitify themselves too bad. I mean, NPR and Wikipedia don't shitify themselves. This is true. But you also have examples of private businesses that don't shitify themselves. But the issue is, as your business gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the pressure or incentive, I should say, to become a publicly traded company gets larger and larger and larger. So like the main businesses that dominate people's lives on a day-to-day basis become shittier over time, you know? I go to Target instead, noted small business. Yeah, but like you can even see it in Target, right? Like Target is now offering and pushing so many more, like, you know, $1, $2, $3 like random bullshit in their stores. You can see it in the way that dollar stores predate on people who are making so little money they don't have enough money to shop at like Walmart or Target, you know? It's the enshittification of our economy. And like it's becoming shittier so they can make more money off of you.
Other platform. What's been your experience with junkification? And for makers, where are you going to sell your handmade and artisan goods?
I think Teleport, the account that made that video, is like a rising competitor to like Etsy and like Poshmark. So like it makes sense that they're making this thread, but like it is pointing out a real problem, right? Was it Dollar Tree that single-handedly destroys communities? It's Dollar Tree, Dollar General, any dollar business really is contributing to that problem of destroying communities and creating like micro monopolies. How does Temu play into all of this? I mean, Temu's just like another Alibaba, essentially. It's just a way to sell more junk shit and wring more profit out of you, you know? Y'all ever see the guy on YouTube who reviews dollar store food? It's all vile. No, I have not. My God. But here's a good quote too. Let's see. The term enshittification was coined by writer Cory Doctorow. Doctorow? That just sounds like a comic book name. In a November 2022 blog post that was later republished in Locus magazine in January of 2023, he expanded on the concept in another blog post, which was later republished as an article in the January 2023 edition of Wired, in which he said that enshittification is how platforms die. Quote, "Here's how platforms die. First, they are good to their users. Then they abuse their users to make things better for their business customers. Finally, they abuse those business customers to claw back all of the value for themselves. Then they die. I call this enshittification, and it is a seemingly inevitable consequence arising from the combination of the ease of changing how a platform allocates value, combined with the nature of a two-sided market where a platform sits between buyers and sellers, each holding each hostage to the other, raking off an ever larger share of value that passes between the two. Which, like, we're not seeing necessarily the death of these platforms. Instead, what we're kind of seeing is like the tap dancing on the verge of death. We're seeing these companies see exactly how far they can push customers and business associates. You know, they're trying to see exactly how much they can try to take from everyone who does business with them before shit hits the fan. You know? How much do you think antitrust laws could help? I think they could help a lot. I think they could help a whole lot. But they won't solve the entirety of the problem. A lot of the problem is due to the consolidation of wealth and the ever-present pursuit of profit, right? Like, the issue here is that the companies continually pursue profit, at the expense of literally everything else. They're willing to run the company into the ground as long as it profits them. You know? They'll just slow down the process of enshittification. Yeah, exactly, Penny. If they feel like they've gone too far, they'll be good at their customers for a little bit. Then they'll push the line again. They'll push the boundary. And sometimes pushing the boundary includes doing illegal things. Because they're willing to do anything and everything, including up to and including illegal activity, in order to make a profit. You know? It's not surprising that we see in a world where like companies are like totally fine poisoning entire communities, pumping oil into the groundwater of like small like cities, like or dumping toxic waste into the water supply. It's not really that surprising that companies would also be willing to just be like to make their online services shittier to make a quick buck, you know? And I think honestly, like, one of the things that we're going to see in this enshittification process is that it also is going, like, the death of some of these larger platforms is going to be because they pushed so far and did things so illegal that like they need to be broken down into component parts. Amazon has the shitty Amazon Essentials and the thousands identical dropship resold products with 20 words long SEO product names. Yeah. Yep. I remember reading in the New Deal era, the federal government used to give out a ton of grants for all kinds of smaller arts and businesses, way, way more than they do now. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we need something like that, and we also need like the monopolies broken up. Like there's a currently like an antitrust lawsuit against Google. There's currently like I believe one in the works against Amazon. Like stuff like that needs to come down hard. Yeah, look, AliExpress is good for things. Like it's also good for like fabric and stuff. But like it's not good for a lot of other things here, you know? Amazon is harsh. They purchase products for less than they sell them for. Yep. Wait. Anyway, yeah, like I mean, what's kind of frustrating, right? Is that Corey's solution to this is that we need like a diverse system where if users are dissatisfied, they can go elsewhere, which is true. We do need that. But like it doesn't fix like the fundamental problem here is capital, the forever pursuit of profit, you know? It's capitalism. And like we can't really get around that. We can temporarily get around that and improve things by creating a more diverse economic ecosystem, but like it's not uh it's not a panacea, you know? It's called the internet net neutrality. Well, yeah, but like telling someone, "Oh, just start your own Amazon." Yeah, there's not really like a way to do that for other people, you know?
Did you know most of you Amazon returns go in the trash?
Yep. There's no profit incentive for them to recycle those. Like solving homicide by making murder illegal. Yeah. What I'm saying is in theory we have the capability to do that. Yeah, but the issue is in practice we don't, you know? Which I think is why it will take like the breakup of Amazon to create like competition again. But yeah, all of that is only temporary because you can break them up, but there's always going to be the incentive for them to recreate those monopolies, you know? So the fundamental problem here, the reason all of your purchasing, the reason all of your shopping is getting shittier, is because of capitalism. Mind blowing, I know. Wild stuff. It's not even greed, it's just the way the system works. The entire system is incentivized towards forever growth. I feel like it would be nice if we could somehow get websites that are collectively owned by the users or workers who maintain the platform. That seems impossible without government help. Well, yeah, well, I mean, how you would do that, Dylan, is by creating democratic worker co-ops and like getting those to be like a norm in the business world, and like that's an entirely different thing that we could do, but would take a lot of concerted effort on our part. And I would like that. We need open protocols. I don't know what that means, Salmon Moose. But also, I still think the fundamental problem of capital would remain. I don't like Scooby-Doo anymore. It's so often the same evil, right? Yeah, capitalism breeds one innovation and one innovation only. Line go up. Alrighty then. Folks, we've been going for 6.5 hours. If you've been enjoying the content, please hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, hit the like button on the YouTube stream, and consider dropping some subs or donos, because that helps me to stay alive. Like Mastodon, where anyone can speak to any server because they speak a common language. That's why there is not a dominant player in email. They all have to speak the same language. Yeah, I mean, I think that helps. I just don't think it like it helps on a tech end. I don't think it solves the fundamental like economic dynamic that leads to what we see in the internet space.